Hello and welcome to Patient World. Today we're blessed to have our special guest, Dr. Marcea Whitaker. Welcome to the show, Dr. Whitaker.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hester. It is a pleasure to be on Patient World with you.
The pleasure is all mine. Let's get started by having you tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Marcea Whitaker, and I am a board-certified internal medicine physician and have been one for about 25 plus years. Somewhere in there, I stopped counting. But I am also a master destiny life coach, also an international author and a speaker, and also recently a radio personality.
Wow, awesome. Okay, so you have a very interesting background. What do you want to share with the audience today?
As a physician, what I noticed while I was seeing patients was that we always know there was that connection between health and our mindset. But as physicians, we didn't always tap into it. And if you think about, everyone may have heard about the placebo effect. And that's that effect when you give a medication in air quotes to someone and they end up getting better, but it was actually sugar water or it was something, whatever it is. We kind of like we trick the brain in order to help our mind, help our bodies get better.
Yes.
And what I realized is that the mind itself is the key to helping people feel better, helping people be, I'm going to say, stick to their regimen, to exercise, to lose weight, to do whatever. That is the ticket to what's missing in our healthcare system. The U.S., we spend the most money on healthcare, and we have the worst. So when I say worst, the worst healthcare of all of the, the first world type, nations. And so that's the key to what it is that I do.
It is pretty shocking, all the money that we spend, and then you look at our outcomes, and it's surprising. So absolutely, the mind, the mental standpoint of what a person is dealing with has a tremendous impact on the body. And while people may say, well, that person is just crazy, you could have stomach pain, severe stomach pain, severe headaches, and other things because of the stress that you're dealing with. And even the stress, emotional stress, certainly puts you at risk of cardiac issues, heart issues, some very severe ones.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that is, as I said, the focus so I'm a health and a life coach. And as I was going through my health coaching training, what I noticed is that when you you can deal with the health problem, like you can lose weight. But if you don't deal with the elephant in the room and find out why the person gained weight, what happened, what's happening in the home, what's happening in their head, what's the connection between the stress and them needing to eat or wanting to eat and what that does for them. That's why we have the roller coaster ride. We lose weight, we do gain weight, and then we lose weight. And then we gain weight and we lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. But we haven't got to why it is that we're gaining the weight. It's because maybe we haven't, there's a coaching paradigm that says we're overnourished with food and undernourished in every other area of your life. And so we're spending all this energy with the food part, but we haven't gone to, maybe we're into the arts. When was the last time you've been to a play? When was the last time you just sat and listened to music or went dancing? When was the last time you read a book that you didn't have to read? When was the last time you went on vacation? Not just a staycation, but an actual vacation. But when we now say, let's dissect this, and we realize, what? I don't feel comfortable, speaking out. I don't feel comfortable sharing with my thoughts. People, when I was younger, maybe I was the youngest and no one took my thoughts seriously. Nobody even asked me what I did think. And so you go through life holding your thoughts inside. And so what you do is you feed it. You eat it, and then that causes the problem. And we can go through any medical condition. There's an underlying reason. There's the underlying, what we call it, the root source that's causing things to kind of fall apart. And so we can deal with the health, but if we deal with the life part of it, now everything else starts to even out. Now you lose that weight and you didn't even realize that you did. Now your blood pressure is lower, and so now you can come off the medication. Now you realize that you're not depressed. You've gotten past that because you've gone into other areas. And you know what? I really like to ride my bicycle, or I really like doing XYZ. I found my passion. I've started a business, and now your life is now balanced, and everything else is has started to kind of improve. And so now we've elevated your life, and your health is just one of those highlights.
I couldn't agree more. I have been very happy with what I've seen with the lifestyle medicine, um, how that has moved forward, and people are even getting board certified in lifestyle medicine because they're finding such a strong scientific link between the whole person, the wellness. And, one of the pillars of lifestyle medicine, one of the 6 pillars, is sleep, getting enough rest. Social connections, that's another pillar. So we spend all this money on pharmaceuticals. We take a pill to fix A, but it causes B, so we take a pill for that. It's just like we're just chasing our tail. Pill, 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 pill. And if we would get to the root cause, then we would be able to forego a lot of the issues that put us on pill A in the first place. Something else, the science behind obesity, how not only does stress impact our appetite, and we have now they're finding all of these hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin and so forth, but stress impacts your hunger, but also the stress impacts your cortisol level and how you deposit fat in your body. And it's just an ongoing cycle. And so it's exciting how things are coming to light, that some of the simple things we can do: rest, decrease stress. If you exercise, you decrease stress, and you're more likely to sleep well. It does all sorts of things. Can help impact your weight, your blood pressure. And so instead of having this cycle of pill after pill after pill, if we got into the cycle of eating healthier, resting, decreasing stress, a lot of people could throw out a lot of the pills and put that money in a little cookie jar for the next vacation to the Caribbean, so wherever they want to go.
That is true. And one of the things, as you were sharing with me, with us and the viewers, there's a missing piece that has to, it's kind of like the rate limiting step. And that part is empowering the patients. There's part of the coaching that I do. It's great when you have to remember to be healthy. That's different than being healthy, right? And when you're just healthy, now you think healthy, as opposed to remembering to think healthy. And that sounds like a riddle, but there's a place where now when you tap into the patient's why, and now you connect their why with the behavior, now they become it. And you don't have to say, hey, you need to exercise. Hey, did you take your medicine? Hey, what's your cholesterol doing? Hey, I saw you eating, you putting salt on your food. That is that dynamic that hasn't worked over the years. That's a little paternalistic, the mindset where patients don't tell you that they're not taking their medication. and their blood pressure's high, you're like, oh yeah, we need to add something else. They're like, okay, doc. And they weren't even taking that pill, the pill before that. It's the salt shake. They got salt in their bag that they add to their food, right? But when you're able to shift it into, okay, what's your why? Okay, your why is you really want to be here to see your grandchildren graduate from middle school, from high school, from college. You want to be able to go on that trip to Europe. But right now your legs are swelling and you can't, and every 5 seconds you have to go to the bathroom because you're taking Lasix. Right? When we get to that place, we're like, okay, what is it that matters to you? Okay, so what do you want to do about it? Okay, well, I don't like exercise. Well, okay, well, what do you like? Okay, well, I don't know, maybe do video games that are active, interactive. That there's the bowling thing and all that, right? Okay, well, maybe what do you call it, the video thing, right? Okay, well, do that. Do what you enjoy. That's going to get you moving. And now we've been able to scale back your medication. Now you booked your first trip. Maybe you booked it someplace locally, but you're able to walk without having a problem. And so if we can get into the brain, into the why, that's the key to the missing piece, the key to get you to the next level.
And that's very motivational because as you look at people around you who are dealing with very serious issues, it's not just something that could happen, to something that has happened to somebody that you love. And if you are able to turn the page on your life, then you can help other people in your life. You can help your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad or your kids. And so once you make a decision to make some changes, over time, those changes just become part of you, just like the bad habits. I became a vegetarian 5 years ago.
Really? I didn't
And
know that. Okay.
yeah, I'm vegetarian. And right now, I don't even like to pick up meat. And my family, they like turkey. Um, they were not into red meat, but I don't even like touching the stuff. And a few years ago, I was all into it. Not that there's anything wrong with turkey meat. I just made a decision for health reasons. I want to be plant-based. I want to have a plant-based lifestyle. And the only time I really miss it is when I'm in Jamaica and I smell that jerk chicken. And short of that, I do not miss it. But I've gotten so used to it, that choice is now part of who I am. And I have no desire to go back to some of the things I used to do. I don't have a desire for that double cheese pepperoni pizza, because I'm looking at, okay, a lot of positive things have happened. I feel better and my life is changing. I just don't want to move backwards. And so that becomes a motivation to continue what you're doing and to do more.
Correct. And that thing is an inner core now. When you said, I could see it in your face, you're like, I don't even want to touch meat. And when you're like that about your blood pressure, if you're like that about your exercise, if you're like that about maybe your morning meditation or your prayer, if you're like that about your walk after dinner or getting into bed at a certain time, there is nothing that can stop you from getting to your destination. Nothing can stop you. And so that is the key to, as I said, empowering that patient, that individual to say, you know what, this means so much to me that I'm not going to allow something else, a whimsical desire, a craving, deter me, because I'm on my way someplace that's greater, someplace that now I'm going to have longevity. And not only for myself, but you're leaving a legacy. Not only when we talk about financial legacy, but there is the emotional legacy. There's a physical legacy of you actually being here. And maybe you outlive everybody in your family. Maybe you're now able to lead others to places where they wouldn't have been able to go because of your lived experience. And that's what life's about. Life is about what you leave behind, who you impact, who you empower, as opposed to that steak dinner or that 7-layer cake that you want to devour, that's going to send your blood sugar through the roof and have you feeling sluggish for the next 7 days.
I agree. And you never know who's watching you. I have 2 teenagers. I hate chemicals. If I can do organic, I want to go organic. Speaking of which, I strongly suggest that people learn about what they're putting in their bodies. There's a site called EWG, and it has information about everything from the deodorant you use to the detergent used to do your clothes, and it lets you know, okay, this chemical is an endocrine disruptor. This chemical has been shown to cause cancer. It just goes on and on. But my children, when they pick up something, they'll look and say, Mommy, that has chemicals. So, and they're teenagers. And so I'm teaching them now, we don't want chemicals. If it's not natural, God didn't make it, we really don't need it. Every now and then, certainly you're going to get some. Even the plastic wrap that you have has chemicals. So you're not going to be able to completely get away from chemicals. But whatever you can do to minimize your exposure, if you get creative, you'd be surprised what you can find out. I even found that there are these they're sandwich bags, and they're not plastic. They're made of cornstarch, and they actually hold up. But yes,
really,
yeah, and they hold up better than the plastic ones at the store. I can wash them and use them again and again and again.
Really?
So once you get out there and you start researching, safe alternatives to what you're doing, that is huge as well, because when these things build up in your body, whether it comes by the way of food or any other mode of entering your body, and it causes damage, sometimes that damage is not fixable. And so the people around you, they pick up 1 or 2 of your habits, and they make a change. Somebody's benefited just by watching you. So you never know who's paying attention.
Very, very true. And I also want to add a little bit. There's some people, I would say maybe, okay. Some people are very into all of finding out the information. We want information. We want how, the who, what, when, where, how. But then some people want to be healthier, but they don't have the energy. They don't have the drive. And, we go down the aisle because it says organic, we'll pick it up. We'll go to the farmer's market. We have no idea what we're buying. We're just like, I know it's fresh, so I'm going to get it. And so I'm going to ask you, Dr. Hester, what do you suggest those individuals do?
First of all, learn about, the reason they're doing what they're doing. If we're talking organic, then a lot of stores have organic alternatives. Always read the labels. If you're reading something and you can't pronounce it, it was probably made in somebody's chemistry laboratory, and the body was not made to break it down. And so, the vitamins and minerals, certainly that those are normal, but those long words, 15, 20 letters, you probably don't need it. But get in the habit of knowing what you're doing. And also, I have become somewhat of a little farmer. So I have hens in the backyard. My husband takes care of them. Yeah. I have these fruit trees. I'm going to put in a plug for fastgrowingtrees.com. I actually bought some trees, a couple of pear trees. They're maybe 4 or 5 feet high. A couple of years ago. And the first year, they have a 1 year, if you don't get fruit the first year, they'll give you your money back because of how they graft it. You can have fruit-bearing trees in your yard within a year. This is serious. And I bought a single pear tree less than 2 years ago. And Father's Day just passed, and I pulled some pears off, and I made my husband a peach cobbler. I probably had about 50 peaches on this tree that's less than 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have an outdoor garden with collards and bell peppers and a greenhouse. And so you don't even need to have, I don't have a tremendous amount of land, but I have enough to put up a few trees. Or even growing stuff on your porch between your tomatoes and lettuce and other things. If you just grow a few things on your own, that's a few more things you're putting in your body that you don't have to worry about the chemicals. Certainly don't use a lot of fertilizers, a lot of chemicals. You can do organic gardening, but there's so much you can do. And for me, that is my happy space. Getting out, gardening, pulling. I'm not that thrilled about pulling the weeds, but I got to do it. But I enjoy the gardening and it's exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy planting a seed and then nurturing it, and then I'm making zucchini bread a few months later for my family. So, and that may become another habit you have. So, based on what you enjoy doing, just throw out a wide net, see where you land, see what you enjoy, and how you can pull all this together to make it work for you and your family and your budget and your time.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice. So
Thank you.
good. Yes. Yes.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
So, as I mentioned, I'm a health and a life coach. And one of the things that I did is that I wrote a book, and it is called Marked from Birth: The Transformational Journey from Flawed to Fabulous. And what it is, it's a book about my birthmark. And you may or may not be able to see it, but it's on my forehead and around my eye. But what it did is that it caused me to hide as a child. It made me to believe I was maybe, not good enough, that I was ugly, and that, all the things. I got stares as I was as a child. But the thing that, as far as coming from a medical perspective, and I talked about, the mindset, no matter what condition you have, no matter what, I'm going to say, flaw that you have, how you're thinking about it is going to now determine how you go through it. And what I noticed is that it took me years, it took me about 10 years for me to get to a place where I was over it. It still had some side effects. It still was some things that was still dealing with over time. But if I had had a mindset shift when I was in grade school, when I was in high school, when I was in college, it would have changed how I moved through. And that's the power of, I'm going to call it health coaching, life coaching, whatever kind of coaching you want to say about it. But this book helps to walk you through where you are and get you to your destination. And you can use the same process, whether you're talking about, having diabetes, having type 1 diabetes at a young age, having blood pressure, having that cancer diagnosis, having that rare autoimmune disorder that now you can't go outside, or you have hair loss, or, you can't lose weight, you can't have children, whatever it is, there's a mindset shift that can happen that is powerful, that gets you into that space where now you're like, you know what, this is my pain, but that pain is so connected to your purpose. And once I realized that, that allowed me to now step into this space, this coaching space, this space where now I show up into the room as the highest version of me, where I can help other women, other men, other young people maneuver this. I said this odd space where sometimes we think we're drowning. We're just trying to stay afloat, but that thing now becomes your life vest, and now you get to shore, and now you get to you become the lighthouse for others who are now navigating those same treacherous waters. So keep going, keep going, keep going. That flaw is actually your superpower.
I was looking to see if I could find my copy, put it up. It's not within arm's reach. But it is a good book, and it's definitely something that people want to look into. Where can they get a copy of your book?
Absolutely. You can go to my website, which is www.drmarcea.com. My name is spelled with an E instead of an I, so you have to make sure it's Marcea.
Great. And I'm going to put up a picture of the book, and your website at the end of this video.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, please get a copy. Also gift it to someone who may be struggling. It's definitely it is a book about my story, but I also have put in a workbook section where I help walk you through that same journey. And each chapter starts off with a story that is familiar. For example, there is, I don't know, Dr. Hester, did you ever watch Love It or List It? It's
Oh my
a
gosh. Many, many
great
times.
times,
Are you
right?
going to love it or list it?
Listed, right? And so it's this fun kind of real estate kind of show where the family either wants they need more space, or they don't love their home like they used to, and so one agent is looking for a new house, and then the other is doing renovations inside of the home. And so at the end of it, they say what you say, are you going to love it or are you going to list it? And I can say that every person has that flaw, that thing that they're like, you know what? I don't understand why I have this, why I have to deal with this. And you know what? I want to list it. I want to get rid of it. I want to start over. I don't like it. I don't love it, and it needs to go. But the power comes when we when we're trying to list it, but the power comes when when we decide to love it, when we decide to pull back the curtain and see where the beams, what's a load bearing wall, what can we knock down, what can we expand, what can we buy some new fixtures, what if we put a bathroom here and an ensuite there. That is our work. That's our job in this mind space of, you know what, I don't like this birthmark, but you know what, as I started writing that book, what I realized, so the birthmark goes along the trigeminal nerve. And so for those that are watching, it's a nerve in the face that gives feelings. And I went through this phase of, you know what, I want to get rid of this birthmark because I don't like it. And that was me listing it. But what I ended up doing is that I decided to love it, because some of the side effects of getting the laser surgery was I could get keloiding. I could get hypopigmentation. I could get hyperpigmentation. If I went out into the sun after the surgery, it could get darker or whatever. It could come back. But what I realized is that this birthmark and this trigeminal nerve conveyed a superpower, which was me having in-depth perception and introspection on feelings, my own, but also others. And so when someone's talking to me, I can hear what they're not saying. And that causes me to be a great life coach, because I can feel it, I can pull it out, I can ask that other question. And now I'm able to I can be that lighthouse that pulls them to safe shores.
I've known you a long time, and I've admired you a long time, and I admire you even more after this interview. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I look forward to connecting with you more and hearing about all the great things that you're doing in the patient world.
Thank you so much. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
You too. Take care.